Welcome again to Cottage Talk. I am Russ Goldman. This is my match reaction show, my 5 takeaways from Fulham's victory against Arsenal on Sunday. I have 5 takeaways. I'll be sharing that with you in just a bit. If you have not checked out yet, please do check out my full-time show, which I did minutes after Fulham's victory against Arsenal on Sunday. Check that out. I think you might like that. But as I mentioned on that show, I now have my 5 takeaways. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters find us. Really would appreciate that. Okay, so let's get to it. Before I talk about my 5 takeaways, it's a day later, and I'm still feeling great about this Fulham victory against Arsenal. First time they have beaten a top 6 side in a long time. Not that they haven't before, but it's been a while. So this is a big deal. And it really just shows the growth of Fulham Football Club. And I'll be talking about that during the show as well, because I think it's important to talk about where they're headed. These matches beforehand, the 3 losses before this victory, people were starting to get a little bit nervous. I understand that. But I truly believe that Fulham were still headed in the right direction, that the team that we saw win 5-0 twice, give Liverpool a hell of a match, would be the team that we would see more often than not. Well, we saw it again against Arsenal. It makes you feel that Fulham can pretty much beat anyone. If they can beat Arsenal, they can beat anyone. That's a big deal. So let's get to my 5 takeaways. Let's start with number 5. And some of them are talking about now showed up in my 5 keys to victory. This is actually one of them, because I said that Marco Silva needed to outcoach Mikel Arteta, and he absolutely did. He did a phenomenal job. What's interesting about both of these coaches, I was speaking to a fellow Fulham supporter, and both of these coaches get criticized for not having a plan B. And I would agree with that with both. I think when you look at Marco Silva, does he have a plan B? I don't think he really does. I think he just has his own plan and sticks to it. Same thing with Arteta. Can that hurt you in certain circumstances? Would I like him to have a plan B? Yes. But he believes strongly in his style of play, that he doesn't really change it much. He actually did add an additional center back late in the match to see it out, but it's still within his system. So neither one have a plan B, which is called what it is. But Fulham set Fulham up for a victory. There's no question about that. He actually, I thought, with that starting 11, took a little risk there. I do like the fact that he did sit Andreas Pereira, played Iwobi in that role. That worked. But I think the big question would be, would he play Harrison Reed? He did not. And that told me that he was going for it, because he went with Tom Kearney, and boy, did that pay off. So congratulations to Silva, because he definitely outcoached Arteta. Now, what's interesting about this, to go along with it, Arteta tried to change things up in the second half. He changed formations, brought on players. Nothing worked against Silva's team. So for me, Silva stuck with his plan. His players saw it out, and he outcoached Mikel Arteta. He actually made changes that worked in the end to see the match out. So congratulations to Marco Silva, because this is a big one. Could he outcoach Arteta? And he absolutely did. That's why that's my number 5. Number 4, Tosin and Bassey did their job. They were both excellent in this match. They limited whatever Arsenal were trying to do. They could not get by our center backs of Tosin and Bassey. Both were excellent. I believe Bassey was man of the match. From the club, I actually went with Raul Jimenez. Tosin was great too. Nothing they did worked against these 2 center backs. They did their job, and Bassey really stood out here. And I understand why he won man of the match on the Fulham website, on the Fulham X account, because he was that good. And that situation that he had led to Fulham's first goal. Again, he was very aggressive. Both were very aggressive. And I just thought they did their job very well. That's why the center backs are my number 4. Number 3, Jedi kept Saka quiet and was dangerous going forward. Big thing with me with Jedi is that we have some really good games and then we have some not so good games. This was a good game from Jedi, and I think this was important for Fulham to get all 3 points. He did a great job against Saka. He's now done this against some of the best players out there. He's has done it against Mo Salah. Now he's done it against Saka. Now, Saka did have an opportunity to score that went over Robinson's head, but he did not capitalize on that. But beyond that, he was just doing a great job keeping him quiet. And when he was going forward, dangerous, very dangerous. A great two-way performance from Jedi. He deserves kudos for this. So keep proving me wrong, Anthony Robinson. And honestly, I've now seen all the links to teams that I will be interested in him, including Liverpool. If I'm Fulham, I do not let this player go. He just signed a new deal. There's no reason to sell Jedi, at least not in January. Keep Jedi, plus you have the situation with Foda Ballatore going to the African Cup of Nations. We do know that in a pinch, we do have a player that could take over that role in Castagna, and then you play Tete and Castagna, but you would really hurt yourself if you let Anthony Robinson go. So I'm a big no on that. And Jedi, great job. That's why that is my number 3 takeaway. Number 2, and this is huge, and this is why I feel that Fulham are headed in the right direction, but they do need depth to take care of when these players can't play. Raul Jimenez and Willian show their importance in this match. They both did. In fact, I was watching Match of the Day too, and they were talking about how valuable Jimenez is with Fulham's press, and when Fulham are pressed, how important he is to Fulham. It's not just about scoring the goals. It's about being a player that can get everyone involved. He's very important to everything that Fulham do. It's like I said, if you're just looking at the goals, that's great. He scored a goal, but he's much more than that. He was a difference maker in this match, along with Willian. Willian was a difference maker as well. So these two players being out, no one wanted to hear me complain about that these players being out affected Fulham, but they certainly did. And with them coming back into the team, you saw a huge difference. Very valuable, both of these players. And yes, they're over 30. Should we be concerned about that? Of course we should be. But you know what? I want them in there. And when they're in there, they make a huge difference. That's why Jimenez and Willian show their importance in this match is my number 2 takeaway for Fulham's victory against Arsenal. Coming up next is my number 1 takeaway from this Fulham victory against Arsenal. Okay, to end this quick show of Cottage Talk, my 5 takeaways, let's talk about my number 1 takeaway, and that's Fulham won the midfield battle. This is where I thought the match would be won or lost, and it was won here. Let's give full credit to João Palhinha, Tom Kearney, and Alex Iwobi. And you could also give some credit to Pereira when he came in from Iwobi late, but Fulham won the midfield battle. They were going up against 3 formidable central midfielders. You're talking about just tremendous players. Havertz, one of my favorite players, is also Odegaard. And then, of course, you have Declan Rice. Who's the better player right now? Is it João Palhinha or Declan Rice? It's João Palhinha. João Palhinha was phenomenal in this match. His tackle in the box on Saka was spot on, needed, and it just showed his importance to Fulham Football Club. And, oh, by the way, his reaction after that was, I don't see a player looking to leave Fulham Football Club. Now, I said that over the summer, and then, of course, you have the whole Bayern thing. But he looks like a player that likes playing for Fulham, so let's hope that continues at least through January. Tom Kearney, massive in this match. I wanted to start Harrison Reed. He proved me wrong. What a great pass to set up the goal. But it's not just that. It's what he does in central midfield, his calmness and him being the complete facilitator. So what's great about this, and I had a fellow Fulham supporter say, well, maybe Palhinha, his influence in the match is helping out Kearney. And I actually agree with that because he allows Kearney to do his job. Paulina has his role, and then you have Kearney having his role. And then, of course, a little bit further up, you have the hardworking play of Alex Iwobi. You can play him out wide. You can play him in the number 10 role. He just does his job. But what's great about this is that you look at the players that we're going up against. 3 really good players, and Fulham won the midfield battle. It doesn't happen every time, but it happened here against the midfield 3 that everyone is talking about how great they are. And Fulham won the midfield battle. That is one of the major reasons why they won this match. Absolutely why they won the match. They had to win the midfield battle, and they did. I was watching a show after the match, and they were talking about how Fulham won the midfield battle. And these are all great players, Odegaard, Declan Rice, and Havertz. And Fulham's players were better. Simply, they were better. They controlled the match. Did you ever feel at any point in this match that Arsenal had control of it? Not really. Not at all. Fulham had full control. Yes, they scored the early goal, but beyond that, and maybe at the end of the first half, Arsenal had some time on the ball, but beyond that, they never had a grasp of the game. Fulham did. It's because they won the midfield battle. So congratulations to Paulina, Kearney, and Iwobi. They did their job, and they were key players to this Fulham victory against Arsenal. Okay. Before I go, I just want to share one bonus topic here, bonus takeaway, and it's this. Fulham have struggled against the top 6 sides, not finding a way to win. Well, now they've done that. And I'm just going to say it right now, Fulham can beat anyone in this league right now, especially if they come to Craven Cottage. They can beat anyone. They proved that with beating Arsenal. If you can beat Arsenal, I'm going to say it. You can beat Liverpool. You can beat Tottenham. You certainly can beat Aston Villa. And yes, you could even upset Man City. That's how big this victory was against Arsenal, because they proved something to themselves. They should not feel intimidated going up against any team, because they can beat anyone. Now, they can get beat as well, obviously. But they should feel confident going into any match the rest of the season. This is why I never felt a relegation battle was in the cards for Fulham Football Club, because I knew they had this in them. And they showed it to everyone around the world that they can beat anyone. Just think about that. They can beat Arsenal. They can beat anyone. So that is a bonus takeaway from this match. My number 1 was Fulham won the midfield battle. But just keep this in mind. Fulham can beat anyone in this league. And that's an important thing to take away from this match. Okay. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Cottage Talk. As always, please do subscribe on YouTube and Apple Podcasts. It does help other Fulham supporters to find us. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. My name is Russ Goldman. Thank you as always for watching and listening to Cottage Talk, part of the talkSPORT Fan Network.